Hey everybody, my name is Deja and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a library slash bookshelf tour. I am lucky enough to have very amazing, gracious parents that support my love of reading, so I have a whole room that's mostly for books. There's a desk in here. My mom wants to move her desk in here too, so I decided to do this before she does that. But they luckily let me have a whole room dedicated to books. I have somewhere around 1,000 books, so there's a lot. I have 7 shelves and I believe all of these are from Walmart. Some of them are a little bit warped and bent because some of these I've had since I was like 11, so for almost 10 years now, some of these shelves I've had. And I do think some of these are from a different line, or they did them differently, because I have 3 bookcases over there and those ones are actually smaller, and the 4 that I have over here are a little bit bigger. So I'm just gonna go over kind of the setup of the room a little bit, because I know a lot of people like to see that. It's not super aesthetic or anything like that. It's pretty just like a multi-purpose room. And then I'm gonna go over the books. I'm not gonna pull out every single book, especially because a lot of books that I have are in stacks and I'm not pulling those out. I'll say a lot of the names, I'll talk a little bit about them, I might pull out a couple of them, but we're not pulling out every single book. I know we used to do that back in the day with like Catty-tastic, Pull a Banana's books, Jessie the Reader. They used to do that back in the day in 2013, 2014, but I'm not doing that, okay? Y'all can see the spines. Y'all should probably watch my channel and I'll talk about these books in one way, shape, form, or another. So I'm really excited to show y'all the bookshelf tour because I did a whole reorganization when I came back from school. So you might have seen that, but I'm really excited to actually like go more in depth with y'all to describe my thought process and everything of how I organize my books. So this is what you see in the room when you first walk in, is basically my TBR cart, which is hard to see right now with the backlighting. This window, 4 bookcases over here, and then 3 right here. Here is the door. Normally my tripod's not there. I'm just using it for filming this. And I have this Y'allfest sign that I stole. I have a step stool because I'm super short. When I tried to longboard, there's a longboard. And right next to the door is this little storage. On top of it is my mom's printer and a couple random things. Then I have these drawers. This one mostly has like crochet stuff in it and some random stuff from like my birthday balloons and stuff like that. Then this one has a lot of tote bags and also a lot of fabric because I do some sewing, not as much anymore, but I used to. And then here has way more tote bags and some like more decor for my shelves. And there's also this little basket with a couple random things, including a hole punch. Then here's my desk. It's in this closet. Sorry, it's focusing. And you know, I just have a little chair. It has this blanket that's seen many days, many stains. And so this is just my little desk. It has a lot of magnets on it. I need to put more because I also have a lot of cards and stuff. This is a card from Bree from In Love and Words. And I have a way more cards from my friends that I need to put up here. Here is this diamond painting I was working on in my phone. I actually finished it, but I wanted it to be realistic. So like, this is what it basically looks like. And a lot of this stuff, like the stapler and these thingies and even the lamp and this plant and a lot of like the plants and stuff come with me back to school. But I wanted to have a full library tour for y'all. So I am doing it in the summer, obviously. Then I have like this little Deja's Book World sign my mom got me, and it actually changes colors, some tissues and stuff like that. And then in the drawers is just like more stationery and a lot of like fidget toys. There's a lot here and some wax melts and stuff because I actually have a wax melter behind here. And then in here there's some like paper, a lot of sewing stuff is in here, some crochet stuff as well, and then a lot of just random stuff like Sharpies and stuff are down there. On this side back here is mostly filming stuff like lights and stuff. I don't normally use these, but I have them. And on this side is a lot of like hobby stuff. So this is actually a bulletin board that I did last year that I took down carefully. I have paint by numbers, diamond paintings. This is actually a puzzle in here, and my sewing machine is also down there. And the sign that I made that says icon on it, I made this at school. I have nowhere to put it, but that's mostly what's down there. And then up here is a lot of random stuff. I'm actually going to turn on the lights so y'all can see. So I just have a lot of decor up there in that bag and a lot of like paper, some random coloring books and notebooks and binders and stuff in case I need them. These 3 boxes right here are all bookmarks I made for Crimeathon. So if you ever want those are on my Etsy shop. I made them years ago, but it cost a lot less to order hundreds of them than to order a couple. I have Hunter Killer boxes, some more random stuff, a lot of puzzle stuff, and some crochet stuff. This is my printer I bring with me to school. And then I also have my Sims and Animal Crossing physical copies right there. Now moving on to the actual books, I basically organize by genre, and so this side is mostly like my fantasy, sci-fi, dystopian, even fantasy, romance, side, paranormal, anything like that. And then there's some arcs as well. And then this side for the most part is contemporary, literary fiction, true crime, manga, and comic books, mystery, thriller, horror, and then like contemporary romance and historical fiction, as well as classics. And so I'm going to go over my TBR cart first. So you may see on some parts of my shelves, there may be sections where you'd be like, oh, it looks like there's a spot for a book here. Like, why isn't there a book there? It's because I have a place for every single book on my actual shelves, and I take them off and put them on this cart. So this top layer is basically mostly stuff for the actual month that I'm in. So I have some Summerween stuff because I'm filming this in July. And then I also have stuff for my spinner wheel, and my TBR jar, everything like that, and then books for other reading vlogs and stuff. And there's just some extra books back there. I also have this book sleeve that I think was made by Krystle's Visions. I don't know if she makes them anymore, but I love it because obviously it's the carpet from The Shining. Moving down, you could see I also have this little magnet. I believe this was made by Beth from Beth's All Booked for her Patreon when she had one. And then I also have these books down here. These are ones that are just high on my radar that I really want to read. So if I'm making a TBR for a readathon or for the month, I can easily come here. And then down here is where I put all the books that I physically read so far this month. And then next to it is a stack of books I need to put on Pango to unhaul. Now we're going to move on to this side. I'm going to go along the top first. This is all dystopian with some arcs over here as well. Okay, so this is as high as my tripod goes, so sorry if it's a little shaky. I'm doing my best, but as I said, at the top here is mostly dystopian, and this first little part is all dystopian series. And you can see up here I have a little Daenerys pop figure. I have a lot of like little trinkets on my shelves, so you guys will definitely see those, and I'll point them out as we go along. So over here I have the Legend trilogy, the Hunger Games trilogy, and the Delirium trilogy. I really loved Delirium back in the day. It's not super popular. Most people know like these other ones, but Delirium was actually one of my faves. But the Hunger Games was what originally got me into reading, as well as Divergent. So I have all 3 Divergent books here, plus 4. And I also have The Giver Quartet by Lois Lowry, Middle Game, and Seasonal Fears by Shauna McGuire. And then I have the Scythe trilogy by Neil Shusterman, which is one of my faves. I still haven't read The Toll, but I really loved Scythe and Thunderhead. Here is more dystopian. I have more series right here. So I have the Testing trilogy, which I don't know why I have so many because I haven't even read a single one in this. Sorry, it's refocusing. And then I have the Selection series, which I read the original trilogy and The Heir. I own The Crown, but I don't know when I'll read it. And then up here, you can't really see, I have the Shatter Me original trilogy. I also own the 4th one, but I got rid of it because there's like 6 now, I think, and I don't think I will read anymore. So I just got rid of the 4th one as well. Then here are all my dystopian standalones. So I have The Darkest Minds, Lifelike by Jay Kristoff, 1,000 Pieces of You, Under the Never Sky, The Rest of Us Just Live Here, Angel Fall, which is one that I really liked back in the day, The Program, The Power, Uglies by Scott Westerfield, Gone, Ready Player One. I also have Annihilation, which is a recent edition. This section doesn't really go that often, but that one's a recent edition. And I also have The Handmaid's Tale over there, Taken, and Flawed. And the last little section I have up here is all arcs. And for the most part, when I read arcs, I move them down onto my red shelves. Thunderhead, you can see I have here because this one's just for nostalgia because I love that book so much and it meant a lot to me to get a arc copy. So most of these are unread, and a lot of these I got at the Young Adult Book Convention Y'allfest, where I stole that sign from. But some of these I still do really want to read, like Brown Girl Ghosted, The Astonishing Color of After, The Love and Lies of Rukhshani Ali. I'm not going to go over all of these, but you can see I will kind of lean it back so you guys can kind of get a view of everything. I have Camp up here, Nice Girl, and then there's also even more back in the back here. I will take these out so y'all can see. It's kind of double stacked, not fully, but there is some back there as well. But for the most part, I don't really think about those at all, and I'm not as excited about those, so I will probably be unhauling those. Now we're going to move down to the actual shelves, and I'm going to start with this one closest to the door. So this whole bookcase, for the most part, the whole thing is YA fantasy. So starting off, I have obviously my Cassandra Clare section, and I also have this little fantasy candle from Page Turning Candle Co. I don't know if she makes YouTube videos anymore, but I really like her candles. And so obviously I have the Mortal Instrument series, and I have this special edition of City of Bones with gold sprayed edges and everything that I loved. I also have this series. I forget what all of the series are called now, except for the original two. But I have Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron. I also have the Infernal Devices. And I have it in French because I loved it so much that when I went to France, I got it in French. And I also have the Bane Chronicles right here because I needed something to fit here. Moving down continues Cassandra Clare right here, so I have a lot more of her short story collection bind up things here. So I have Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, Ghost of the Shadow Market, and the Red Schools of Magic. I also have the 3 books in this series, Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness. Then I have my Leigh Bardugo section, so I kind of try and keep her 2 adult books that I have separate from her YA books. So I have Ninth House and Hellbent here. I do have a separate adult fantasy section, but she was starting to get out of hand, so I moved these 2 over here to stay with the author. But a lot of times if they're in separate genres or something like that, I will generally split them up on my shelves to fit the genres. And then I have King of Scars, Language of Thorns, Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, Wonder Woman Warbringer, and then I also have the Shadow and Bone duology. And I also have a little Ketterdam Briarwick candle. So here's even more series. I have the cool, I was actually looking for this. This is the little cover for my camera lens. I didn't even know that was there. But over here I have a candle that is also from the Page Turning Co. This one was actually bought for me by Nicole from Who Picked This Book. It's Trinity. It's a little unicorn. But behind her I have the Cruel Prince trilogy, and I have the Red Queen series. I have the first 3 in this series. And then I also have my entire Rick Riordan collection. Crazy part is I haven't read Red Queen or any Rick Riordan, but I have so many. Rick Riordan's super easy to thrift. So I have the box collection of the Percy Jackson series, and I also have 4 of the books in the Lost Hero series. What is this called? The Heroes of Olympus series. And then I also have An Ember in the Ashes, which is one of my favorite series. I did a read along for this on my channel back years ago, but I love this series. It's one of my favorite fantasy series by far. Here is even more series. So I have the first 2 books in the Truth Witch series. I have Renegades and Arch Enemies. I have Girls of Paper and Fire and Girls of Storm and Shadow, The Star-Touched Queen, and A Crown of Wishes. So these ones I all own 2 books in the series or the duologies. And then moving on, I have a couple of fantasy books from Book of the Month. I have The Cloisters, which it doesn't have the Book of the Month emblem on it, but it is. I have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride and Circe. Some of these are adult, maybe they all are, but I just put them here because they fit well. And then I have the Winners Trilogy by Marie Witowski. I think that's how you say her last name. And then I have Cinda Williams Chima. I've never heard anybody talk about her on BookTube, but I really, really liked her back in the day. I did a book report on The Warrior Heir. You could tell she is very, very beat up. I don't know if I ever wrote in this or anything, but she's really beat up. And then I have some of her other books, Flamecaster, The Dragon Heir, and The Demon King. Moving on to the bottom shelf, I just have to hold y'all, but this is normally where I put this little step stool thingy to block her, but this is the Harry Potter section. I know we don't like to talk about her, but she was a moment in time, okay? And I even have 4 of the illustrated editions. So yeah, but I have a whole collection here. You can see I even have some Birdie Bots beans or whatever. I have some mugs. I even have more mugs than this that I used to get from Owl Crates. The original series right here, my sister gave to me one Christmas, and it's a really meaningful gift because I think these were hers. And I even have the little short story collections as well. And I also have The Crimes of Grindelwald and Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I'm just saying, if y'all have ever watched a bookshelf tour and loved it and enjoyed it, or just watched it, you better be grateful because this ish is hard, okay? But moving on to the top of the next bookcase, this for the most part is my adult fantasy shelf. And so for the most part, this is high fantasy as well as this, and these ones are mostly like cozy fantasy or urban fantasy. I do have a double stack on this side as well, so I'm gonna pull this out so y'all can see. But back there is my Game of Thrones bind up series. It's not a bind up, it's just the box set that my sister got me, but those books are super nice and paper thin, so I would never read those. Like, I would get the ebook or something. But I do love the Game of Thrones show, so maybe one day I will actually read it. So I have Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is a new addition to my collection that I got a couple months ago. I also have Nevernight, which I actually have read. One book on this shelf that I've read. I've read a couple. The Priory of the Orange Tree, The Rage of Dragons, and I also have the Mistborn collection. I keep wanting to say bind up, but it's the box set. Then I have The House in the Cerulean Sea. This one is an arc that's moved down to my shelves. Because I just love it so much. Obviously, I have Sorrowland by River Solomon. This is a recent one that was gifted to me. A Darker Shade of Magic and Vicious, both by V.E. Schwab. I do have some other V.E. Schwab books on my shelves in other categories, but these are like her more fantasy books that I have. And I also have Legends and Lattes. And then I have The City of Brass, The Black Veins, which I haven't heard many people talk about this, but one person did and it made me buy it. Then I have Jade City, which I still need to read, Gideon the Ninth, The Fifth Season, which made me realize that I'm dumb when I read that book. Queen of the Conquered is another recent one that I thrifted. Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I haven't read this one. I've read 3 T. Kingfisher now and I haven't liked them. But I want to give them another chance because this one is in a different genre. I have Assassin's Apprentice and The Poppy War as well by R.F. Kuang. Moving on, this starts my fantasy romance. So obviously this shelf is all Sarah J. Maas. So I have a Briarwick Rhysand candle right here. I also have a Selena's Cake candle from, what is that? The Melting Library. Here is my entire Throne of Glass series in the Assassin's Blade. I don't know what I'm going to do when the next Crescent City book comes out. We're just gonna have to see. But I have Catwoman up here and a collector's edition of Throne of Glass as well. I have my ACOTAR series right here, even A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames, which I still have not read yet. And then the 2 books in the Crescent City series, House of Earth and Blood and House of Sky and Breath. Here is more fantasy romance. I have mostly paranormal on this side, but there are a couple high fantasy up here. So I have this little cauldron candle. But I have Zodiac Academy, the first book. We know I don't like her really. But I have Wolfsong by T.J. Klune right above her, which is my heart and soul. I love that book. I have some random books, Witchling and Night Mist. And then I have Slaves to Sensation by Nalini Singh, which is one of my favorite paranormal romances. I have this series, what is this called? The Fallen Angel series. By J.R. Ward. I haven't read this, but I own the first 3. I thrifted them. And then I have A Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher, which is a really, really good fantasy romance. And then I also have A Heart of Blood and Ashes. I haven't read this one yet, but I've heard super good things. And at the top is another paranormal romance, A Hunger Like No Other, which I absolutely love as well. Moving on to more just like paranormal and fantasy romance, I have Sea of Ruin, which I haven't read, but I really want to. Same with Fortuna Sworn. I have Kingdom of the Wicked and Kingdom of the Cursed, both by Carrie Maniscalco. I really liked Kingdom of the Wicked. I have Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have Radiance by Grace Draven, another good one. Secrets and Truth is another underrated one. You should definitely pick this up if you like paranormal romances. Then I also have Neon Gods by Katie Robert. And over here is some series. Serpent and Dove and Blood and Honey, both by Shelby Mahurin. I know everybody disliked this book, but I liked her when I read her. Then I have my From Blood and Ash series, the first 3 books. I also have the White Hot Kiss series, which I loved White Hot Kiss when I read it years ago. Shelf is mostly paranormal or witchy fantasy that's not necessarily fantasy romance. So I have like the X-Hex and These Witches Don't Burn. I put these together because they are both from Book of the Month. I really like both of these. These Witches Don't Burn is super underrated. I also have Hex, which I have not read. Cemetery Boys, which is a good one. The Wicked Deep and Winterwood, both by Shay Earnshaw. These books are stunning. I would pull them out, but they're in a stack. Spellbook of the Lost and Found, I haven't read, but I love the cover of this one as well. I have Hexhall and Spellbound, both by Rachel Hawkins, I believe. I have A Discovery of Witches, and I also have my Raven Boy series at the very top. I don't think you can see, but I have all 4 books, but it's kind of cut off just a little bit. Sorry, it's getting dark right now. And then I have, what is this series? I don't even know, but it's like the Iron King, Iron Face, some series. I have 3 books in that. I know I should know more about the books that I actually own, but I have definitely thrifted a lot of these. These ones were definitely thrifted. Then I have Sweet Evil by Wendy Higgins. This is one that I heard about way back in the day. Haven't heard anybody talk about it since, but something about it has made me hold on to it through all these years. So as I said, these were all like witchy for the most part, and then there's like the Raven Boys, and then these ones are fae, and then these ones are just like general paranormal for the most part, or like fantasy that's more like magical realism. So I have Undead Girl Gang, I have The Unbecoming Amara Diary. I don't even know where to put her. I haven't read her, but I still do want to. I have The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black here at the top. I have The Hearts We Sold, which I know is a like demon or devil book. The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab and City of Ghosts. You can see I have more V.E. Schwab. I have even more coming up. City of Ghosts is such a good middle grade. This is the only middle grade that's right here. And I have a whole middle grade section, but she is special, so I put her with her sister. And then I have The Hazelwood, Wild Beauty, The Glass Hotel, and The Inheritance of Orchida Divina. I also have a little Cabe's Water candle down here for the Raven Boy series. Moving down to the bottom shelf, these are all vampire books. So I have a little vampire succulent. She's fallen a couple times, but we E6000 to her together and she's good, okay? But I have my Vampire Academy series right here with 3 of the Bloodline books. I think I'm missing one of these books. Yeah, I'm missing like 3 or 4 right here. I don't know where she went. And also I hate how this one is not the same as the rest, but it's okay. And then I have Empire of the Vampire, The Beautiful, The Coldest Girl, Cold Town, A Dowry of Blood, such a good one. Crave, The Immortal Rules, which is one that I really liked when I read it years ago. The Witch and the Vampire is a recent one that I was sent, and I was also sent Jinx, which is the first 2 books in a series by PC Cass and Kristen Cass. I was recently sent that one by the publisher as well. And then I have A Court of the Vampire Queen, Certain Dark Things, and King of Battle and Blood. So some of these are definitely like fantasy, romance, and I could put them up here. This makes sense in my head, okay? Moving to the top of the last bookcase on this side, this is more YA fantasy, but these are all ones where I just own one in this series. So I have The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokski, These Violent Delights, Children of Blood and Bone, The Last Magician, Wicked Fox, Warrior of the Wild, Shadow of the Fox, and Grave Mercy right here. And you guys might be wondering, why is there a picture of this random white boy on my bookcase? This is actually a picture of my dad. You know, he's very much white and he's very little in this picture and I love it, so I'm gonna keep it. And then I have Furyborn. I don't remember what's supposed to be here, but then I have Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor and Daughter of Smoke and Bone, such a classic, and I love the Strange the Dreamer cover. She's so shiny and beautiful. I just think she's absolutely stunning. I have Where Dreams Descend. Now, I really don't like this book at all, but I have a limited edition, and it is stunning. It has no dust jacket, and look at it, guys. It's so beautiful. I don't know what to do, because I don't want to unhaul her, because she's so beautiful, but sometimes when I see her, I get mad, so. I also have Carvel right next to her, because I feel like those are kind of a vibe. I have the Atlas 6. I have, which I don't know if that one is a YA fantasy, but she's there anyways. I have Wilderness of Stars, Legendborn, and We Hunt the Flame, and Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson is there on top. She just got super duper dark as I was filming this clip, so I turned on the little light for y'all, but I know she's kind of ugly, but this little corner is super dark, so I'm just going to turn it on for like this clip. I have this random little candle holder thing, I think, from Owl Crate. It's cute, so I put it there. And so these are more YA fantasy for the most part, with some middle grade as well, where I only own one in the series. So I have Flame in the Mist, The Wrath in the Dawn, Bonecryer's Moon, The Walled City, The Kiss of Deception, The Bells, Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, which I'm super excited to read this fall, All of Us Villains, and Sky in the Deep, which I haven't heard anybody talk about this. I haven't read it, but it's like a Viking fantasy, I believe. I also have Criers Ward. This is a really good sapphic fantasy if you're looking for one. And then I have A Fire and Stars, which I haven't read, but I believe is also a sapphic fantasy. I have The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. This one is an absolute classic on BookTube that I still have to read. And then here starts my little middle grade section. So I have Hunters of the Lost City. And then I have Alatsaway, I have Amari and the Night Brothers, so good. The Cavendish Home for Boys and Girls, The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding. And now down here is more YA fantasy, but these ones are all like ocean-y related ones. So I have House of Salt and Sorrow, Fable, I have Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. These ones are really fun if you're looking for a quick like pirate fantasy. I have All the Stars and Teeth and Sea Witch as well. This now starts some sci-fi. I do have some more fantasy at the bottom that's just random, but it's because I don't have enough to fill up that whole shelf. But once I get a full another fantasy shelf, I'll move that up here, so all the fantasies together, and the sci-fi is just down there. But I have some series here. I have the Illuminate Files series, which is one of my favorite series of all time. I love the series. If you haven't read it, you need to. And then I have Project Hail Mary and The Martian by Andy Weir. Haven't read those, but I really want to. I have The Host by Miss Stephanie Meyer. Haven't read her. Didn't read Twilight back in the day either because I was like 6, but I love that for y'all. Also have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Then I have the Fifth Wave series, which if you have not heard about the Fifth Wave, you haven't been on BookTube long enough, okay? I feel like I have a lot of really classic books from the very beginning of BookTube, and this is one of them. I haven't read past the first book, but I really liked the first book, and I don't even like apocalyptic things, and it's more like apocalyptic aliens. Then I have the Luck series by Miss Jennifer L. Armentrout as well. I really like this. It's probably trash now, but back in the day, I loved her. I ate her up. I know that I at least made it onto the second book, and I believe these ones are signed. I just remember I lost like the second book, and I was so mad because it was signed, and I eventually got it back. But I had no dust jacket, so I repurchased a copy and used that dust jacket. I also have a candle right here. This is just a random one from Novelly Yours. It's called Mount Ruin. And then I have I Hope You Get This Message, A Rising Heart of Iron, and then I have Sleeping Giants and Red Rising on top. So this is a mixture of like YA and adult, and it's just kind of random. So this is more kind of sci-fi, and then it transitions into retellings. So I have Zodiac, I have These Broken Stars, which this one was also a good one. You could see I liked her. I even tabbed some of the beginning, but I remember bringing her to school, and I really liked this one. And then I have this Mortal Coil, which I believe people explode or something in this one. I haven't read it, but it sounds super good. I have The Alienated and Invaded. I never heard anybody talk about this. I found it at the library one day, and I loved her. She's terrible. I just know it, but I loved her then. I have 172 Hours on the Moon by John Harstead, which probably should be in horror, but, you know, I didn't even really like her, so she's just here. Then I have When the Sky Fell on Splendor. And then I have The Lunar Chronicles, which is sci-fi and retelling, so she makes the transition a little smoother. Y'all can't even see the top book, but I do have all of the books in the series, including the prequel. And y'all can't even see, but I do have all the books in the series, including the novellas. I've read the first two, and I definitely do want to continue on the series because I really like it. I also have Warcross, The Grace Year, Girls Made of Snow and Glass is a really good retelling fantasy. I have The Afterlife of Holly Chase, and then I have The Lunar Queen Candle. This is from Flick the Wick, I think is what it says up there. The logo is super small. Here's the very end. I have Pride by E.B. Zaboy, Cinderella is Dead, The Kingdom of Back, Unhooked, and Alex and Eliza. And up here, y'all can't see, so I'm gonna bring it down. I have this glass little replica of this scene with Beauty and the Beast. This is my mom's, and she gave it to me because she had nowhere else to put it, but she loves this thing because the Beauty and the Beast is her favorite Disney story. So yeah, I really love this as well, and I definitely cherish it. Moving on to the bottom shelf, this one also does have some retellings in it. I can't reach as far, but I have The Guinevere Deception, and I Darken, A Curse so Dark and Lonely, and A Heart So Fierce and Broken. I really need to continue on. I've only read the first one. I also have Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which probably should be up here, but it's okay. And then I also have this collection, Because You Love to Hate Me, actually. This was a really big thing in the community back in the day. It was these really popular authors. You can see these were some really popular ones, and some of them still are popular, and they collabed with 13 booktubers, and the booktubers gave them the idea for this story, and they wrote it, and it's a collection. I didn't read it, but I still do want to because I feel like it's a relic, okay? This is like one of the first big things where booktubers actually got noticed and booktube was recognized for what it was. This got a little askew, but here's just some more random YA fantasy that I had nowhere else to put. So I have Magic Steeped in Poison. I have The Book of Living Secrets, Skin of the Sea, Seraphina, The Great Hunt, and Poison Study. Poison Study was also a relic that I still need to read. I do really want to read that one. And then at the end, I have a Casamigos bottle. It's empty. I didn't drink it because I'm under 21, of course, but you know, it's just, I kind of like how it looks, and it's an ode to the college life. So we went over these 3 shelves. This is the fantasy side. Now we're gonna move on to this side. I still don't know where the sun went, so we're gonna have to keep this ugly yellow light on. But at the top, you can see that I have some Funko Pops. I used to have way more, but these are just some of my prized ones. I have Louise from Bob's Burgers. I have some Stranger Things ones. I have some Supernatural ones, a Wonder Woman one, and then I have a whole bunch of classics, which I will show y'all more in detail. And then on this side is some more pop figures. I I know some Harry Potter ones. I know. But I also have some Game of Thrones ones. I have a couple Harley Quinns because I used to have like 6 different ones because I was obsessed with her. And also have some Hunger Games ones as well. As I said, here are my Funko Pops, and next to it is some of my classics. Well, all up here is classics and historical romance. So I have these really pretty Barnes & Noble editions of some classics. Here's just one. This is Alice's Adventure in Wonderland and Other Stories. I also have the complete works of William Shakespeare, Jane Austen's 7 novels, Edgar Allan Poe, the Bronte sisters 3 novels, and then these 2 are the leather-bound editions, so they're a little bit different. But I do have Dracula and Frankenstein as well, which I need to reread Frankenstein and I need to read Dracula, but I have those. And then right above it I have this little plant, if y'all can see it, and then I have these little editions. I don't know what these are called. I don't know where I saw these. I think it was Books and Lawless channel, but these are like Pantone collections, I think, of classics. So I don't have all of them, but I do have a bit. So I have Black Beauty, I have another copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, I have A Christmas Carol, The Secret Garden, Heidi, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And then on top I have this really pretty edition of Little Women. I'm not going to pull it out because I'm already in a precarious position, but that is some of my classics. So here's the rest of my classics. I have this French Quarter New Orleans sign that I got when I went years ago, when I was like, I think I went in 2016, so a long time ago. And then I just have a whole bunch of random little classics. I don't think I'm going to go over all of these because there's just too many, but I have multiple copies of some things. I really like these editions. I think I used to get these in the Owl Crate boxes, but here's Sleepy Hollow. There's the Time Machine, which I've never heard of, I don't think, besides this. But there's also another really pretty copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I also have some more modern classics like Fahrenheit 451. I have Water for Elephants. I have The Librarian of Auschwitz, Speak, The Kite Runner. This is one that I read for school, actually. I also have The Catcher in the Rye, which I read for school and I didn't really like. And I have this really pretty edition of the Grimm's Fairy Tales. I really like this edition as well. And then I have some more like classics, as you can see. Things Fall Apart is another one I read for school and I hated. This is my least favorite book ever. Don't recommend it. Then I also have like The Great Gatsby, Treasure Island, Great Expectations, just a whole bunch of random things. Most of these I either got for school, as you can see, or I thrifted them. And the last little section that I have up here is romantic suspense and historical romance. So I have some Nora Roberts books. I have this series by J.D. Robb. I don't know if it has any romance in it, but I just kept it together because J.D. Robb is actually Nora Roberts. I have Indigo by Beverly Jenkins, Chill Factor by Sandra Brown, which is suspense. I have Kill Without Mercy, and just a whole bunch of other random ones. And then these ones are also not really suspense or historical, but I just have my Harlequin romances up here. I have a couple. If you don't know, you should look into these if you like romance. Harlequin romances are a thing in the romance series, and I saw a whole bunch of them at Walmart once and I just went crazy apparently. So now moving on to the first of 4 bookcases over here. This first whole bookcase is mostly like contemporary, literary fiction, and then like manga and graphic novels. So at the very top I have my YA contemporary, and these ones are all, once again, that I only have one by the author, and these ones are all a little bit more lighthearted. A lot of YA contemporary deal with some really serious issues, but these ones are ones that are a little bit more lighthearted. So I have The Black Flamingo. This one is super good. It is a YA contemporary told in poetry that is about a drag queen. It's kind of crazy that y'all can barely see my head. I also have Eliza and Her Monsters. The Henna Wars is one that I really, You Should See Me in a Crown is also a really good one. Then I have Autobiography, which is one that I still need to read. The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune is one I recently picked up. Anna and Santi Were Here is one that was sent to me by the publisher, and I love the cover. You can see I have the promotional material in here, but this one is absolutely stunning. I also have Moxie, and I have this random candle from A Court of Candles. It's just called Burner. And then I have Beauty Queens by Libba Bray, My True Love Gave to Me, which is I always forget what they're called. Not a collection. What is it called, y'all? I don't remember. An anthology. It's an anthology. And then I have Dash and Lily's Book of Dares and The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. I believe this one's actually middle grade. These ones are all like Christmassy, so I kept them together. I have Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills, Love from A to Z. Tweet Cute is super cute. Stay Sweet, I See London, I See France, and The Sun is Also a Star. I have some more that are paperback. Over here I have Truly Madly Royally, Confessions of a Shopaholic, which I have not read. I know this one is a classic for a lot of y'all, but I still need to read her. And then I have Now That I Found You, I'll Give You the Sun, Emergency Contact, Little Black Dresses and Little White Lies. I have a Casey West. I had a lot more, but I just kept the one that I really liked. I have Wait For You by J. Lynn, which is Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry, which is one that I've recently picked up. I need to get the sticker off. But this is more of a recent one. And this is also another section that doesn't grow super frequently. But this is one that I have had a recent interest in. And then I also have Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging, which I believe is also a classic for y'all. Like this one and Confessions of a Shopaholic, I feel like were y'all's books back in like the early 2000s. I have another little picture here. This one is of me as a baby and my sister when she was young. She was 9 when I was born, so she was probably like 9 or 10 in this picture. And then I also have this candle from Patron & Co. It's called Black Sea. And then for the most part, these are all YA contemporaries where I own multiple from the author. These two I literally just had to put here the other day. I had no idea where to put them because they would honestly go on the shelf below this, but I didn't have space for them, so they just had to go here. I have I Wish You All the Best and Felix Ever After. And then I also have Fangirl here, which she's kind of random, but I had nowhere else to put her. I used to own more from Rainbow Rowell, so that's why she was on this shelf. Then I have P.S. I Still Love You and Always and Forever, Laura Jean. I know I'm missing the first book. The Dust Jacket is actually back here. I lent this out to somebody and never got it back, so she's back there. And then I also have The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han as well. Then I have my little Morgan Madsen collection. I have Save the Date, The Unexpected Everything, Since You've Been Gone. And I realized that I also have one of my TBR cards, so I'm going to have to move Fangirl to fit her. But it's okay. For now, she looks fine. Then I also have the Love and Gelato series by Jenna Evans Welch. This is one that I really love. I loved Love and Gelato, so I recently, like a couple months ago, picked up Love and Luck and Love and Olives, which these all take place in different cities. So Love and Gelato takes place in Italy, Love and Luck takes place in Ireland, and then Love and Olives takes place in Greece. Did I say cities? I meant countries. And then I have the Anne and the French Kiss series by Stephanie Perkins. Another booktube classic. I can't even get this out, y'all. She is really stuck in there if you guys can't see. This is my little John Green section. So I have The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska. Then I have Becky Albertalli. So I have What If It's Us, The Upside of Unrequited, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and Leah on the Offbeat. Then I have Jen Bennett. I really liked Alex Approximately. So I picked up Serious Moonlight and also Starry Eyes, which I have not read either of those yet, but Alex Approximately I loved. And then I have When Dimple Met Rishi and From Twinkle with Love. And then I have Geekorella and The Princess and The Fangirl as well. So this is more YA contemporary, but these ones are more like serious ones to me. So I do have another candle. This one's just like a random one from Walmart, but it smells really good. It's Cinnamon Swirl. Yep, she smells super good and fall-y. So I hope I'm not blocking the camera. I have 12 Steps of Normal, which I believe is about addiction. Faking Normal, which I believe is about like suicide. The Art of Starving. Girls Made of Stars, which is about sexual assault. You Reach Sam is about grief. Full Disclosure, I believe, is some body issues or eating disorders. Heretics Anonymous is religion. This Is Where It Ends is school shootings. What to Say Next, I believe, is also religion maybe. Then I have Somersault and Black Girl Unlimited, which is one of my faves. And on top of her is Go Ask Alice. But Black Girl Unlimited is so underrated. Please go pick it up. It is so good. Then I have The Song Will Save Your Life, A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Teta Mafi, which is one that I also really love and I think is super underrated. Then here's my random John Green book, Turtles All the Way Down. I have Wonder by R.J. Palacio, A List of Cages, People Kill People, which is also school shootings, Anger is a Gift, Your Welcome Universe, which I believe is about a deaf main character, which I took sign language, which I really loved. Then I have The Female of the Species, and I don't think this one is necessarily contemporary, but I just don't know where else to put it because I haven't read it, so I don't know exactly. Then I have Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, and then this stack is authors where I have multiple books from. So I have my Angie Thomas, I have The Hate You Give, Concrete Rose, and On the Come Up. Elizabeth Acevedo, one of the best authors ever. I have With the Fire and High, which is my favorite. Clap When You Land, and The Polar X. And then I have Nick Stone, I have Dear Martin, and Jackpot. Jackpot is super underrated. And then I have some Adam Silvera. I have They Both Die at the End and More Happy Than Not. And then on the top, because I had nowhere else to fit her in, is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I love this movie. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I accidentally skipped my literary fiction / adult fiction shelf, and I thought I took a picture to insert in here so I could at least talk over it, but I forgot to take the picture, and I'm at college now, so I'm really sorry, but y'all do not know what's on that shelf now. My B. So for the most part, this is all nonfiction and mostly true crime. So I have like Tell Me Everything, Black Skinned, The Trial of Lizzie Borden, I'm Glad My Mom Died, and then I have some other ones like I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and a couple other ones that were sent to me by publishers like Toil and Trouble, and I also have like the Amityville Horror and a Zodiac book like on the Zodiac Killer. And then I have a couple manga. I only have a couple, so I have Uzumaki, Tokyo Ghoul, and Spy Family, and then I have a whole bunch of comics next to it right here, and then there's like more like comics and graphic novels, and also the first 3 books in the series of Unfortunate Events, and I have a couple other books like Goosebumps book and The Witches over here. So this is kind of like a catch-all section where I just have a whole bunch of things. Okay, moving to the top of the next bookshelf, these are all thrillers and mystery. Well, these ones are all book of the month for the most part, where even if I own 2 from the author, they're all book of the month from this author. So I have Girl A, The Hunting Wives, Happy You Know It, The Collective, People Like Her. So these ones are more like mommy drama type ones, or like just like drama. Then I have a couple legal ones. I have another one, but it's on my cart. So I have The Holdout and A Good Marriage. I also have She Started It. This was a recent one that I just got. Then I have The Chestnut Man and The Whisper Man. I put these together because they're both man. And then I have Warrior Girl Unearthed, which is a new one that came out recently. This one is actually YA, but I just keep them all together for book of the month. And this is a random candle that I spray painted. It smells like a cinnamon bun. And then here is more. So I have Hour of the Assassin, Winter Counts, Long Bright River, The Last Party, You're Invited, A Flicker in the Dark, Reckless Girls, and Firekeeper's Daughter, which is another YA one. Crazy part is I haven't read any of these, so I need to get on that. And then over here I have 2 authors where I own multiple of their books, and I have them all in book of the month copy. So I have The Push by Ashley Audrain, My Mom Lost the Dust Jacket, so she's just there, and The Whispers, which I recently read, and then I have No Exit and The Last Word, which is another one that I just recently read. The next shelf down is a mixture of book of the month and non-book of the month books. So they're all authors where I own multiple books from them, and some of those books are book of the month and some of them are not. So you can see down here I have Megan Golden. 2 of the books that I own by her are not book of the month copies, and 2 of them I own and they are book of the month copies. So I have Stay Awake, which is actually a really underrated thriller. It's good. The Escape Room, which I haven't read and I've heard it's pretty bad. The Night Swim by Megan Golden, which is really good, and Dark Corners, which is the sequel to The Night Swim, and I don't think this one's out yet, but book of the month had it early. And then I have my Riley Sager collection, so I have Home Before Dark, Lock Every Door, The Last Time I Lied, and The House Across the Lake. Those ones are all book of the month copies, and then Survive the Night and Final Girls are normal copies. And I actually have his newest release on my book cart, which is a book of the month copy. And then I have Jennifer Hillier, so I have Things We Do in the Dark, which is book of the month, and then Jar of Hearts, Creep, and The Butcher, which are not. And then missing right here, it's actually Little Secrets, which is on my cart. So only Things We Do in the Dark is book of the month, and the rest of them are not. And then I have Alice Feeney, I have Daisy Darker, and Rock Paper Scissors, which are both book of the month copies. And then I have His and Hers. And then I have Blake Crouch, so I have Upgrade and Recursion right here. Upgrade is book of the month, and then I also have Dark Matter on my cart. And then I just have a random assortment. So the Sundown Motel, I actually have both books in the book of the month copies, Book of Cold Cases and the Sundown Motel. Then I have Lucy Foley, The Guest List, and The Paris Apartment. I both have in book of the month copies. I think I need to unhaul these because I don't even like Lucy Foley. And then I have Alex Michaelides, The Maidens is book of the month, The Silent Patient is not. And then I have The Razorblade Tears. And then I also have Blacktop Wasteland, which is a paperback, which is why it's in this stack. But my mom is currently borrowing it. So yeah, hopefully, well, she can't lose the dust jacket because it's paperback. You can definitely tell that this shelf is a little sunken. But this next shelf is basically authors where I own multiple books from, and none of these are book of the month. These are just authors where I own multiple books. So over here is my Ode to Miss Karen. I have Blindsided and Kiss Cut, which are the first 2 in her Grant County series. I have Pretty Girls, which, you know, is literally the best book ever. Then I have The Good Daughter and Triptych. And I also have this candle that says Le Cirque de Rêves. It's from Frostbeard Studios. And then I have Miss Lisa Jewell. And me and Lisa Jewell, you know, I've read Then She Was Gone, and everybody loved Then She Was Gone. I was not impressed. So I don't know how I've seemed to collect 4 of her other books that I have not read. So I have Watching You, I have The Family Upstairs, Invisible Girl, Then She Was Gone, and then The Night She Disappeared. I don't know how this happened. I think I had multiple by her before I read Then She Was Gone. The Night She Disappeared is one that I recently picked up because I've heard good things about this one specifically, so I want to give this one a shot. But I don't know if I'll be able to read all of these. We'll see. And then I have Miss Ruth Ware, which is another one where I don't like The Turn of the Key. I think it's more of just like it's overhyped to me, which is why I don't like it. I don't think it's a bad book. It was just overhyped. But I also have The Woman in Cabin 10, One by One, The It Girl, The Death of Mrs. Westerway, and In a Dark, Dark Wood. So that's 5 books by this author where I've only read 1 and I didn't really like it. So this is becoming a pattern. That's a problem, but it's okay. And then this stack over here is for the most part books where I own 2 from an author. So I have The Last House Guest and Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. I have Gone Girl and Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I have Into the Water and The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I have All the Beautiful Lies and the Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I have Behind Closed Doors in the Breakdown by B.A. Paris. And then I have The Island and the Train by Adrian McKinty. So down here is just a whole bunch of random thrillers that I normally just own like 1 from the author. So this stack over here is actually all ones that I've read and really, really like. These are all 4 and 5 stars. So I have The Writing Retreat, They Never Learned, The Last Mrs. Parrish, The Last Housewife, Blood Sugar, Take It Back, The Echo Wife, Verity, Stillhouse Lake, The Perfect Child, The Girl in 60, You, The Perfect Marriage, and Any Man. I recommend all of these. I love them all. And then a couple of the ones I've read are Big Little Lies, The Fourth Monkey, and When No One Is Watching. I liked these ones as well, except When No One Is Watching, I'm not a fan. But I did like these other 2. I also have a little golden hedgehog here. I actually used to have a hedgehog who passed away, but I did have a hedgehog. I think that was before booktube time, but I did. And then I have a whole bunch of thrillers that I have not read. So I have Firstborn by Will Dean and Anonymous Girl Hide by Kirsten White. This is The Chalk Man. This is a UK edition, which is super beautiful. You can see all the little different chalkmen. I have The Other Black Girl, The Passengers, Goodnight Nobody by Jennifer Weiner, For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, The Good Girl by Mary Kubica, Baby Teeth by Zoe Sage, The Woods by Harlan Coben, Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough, and The Nesting by CJ Cook. Then here's a candle that is called The Goblin King, and it is from Burning Bright Candle Co. And then here's just some more. So I have The Way I Used to Be, The Last Flight, The Overnight Guest, which is one I really want to read, The Roanoke Girls, Local Woman Missing, and also Pretty Things by Janelle Brown. The last shelf down here is a little bit bare, but these are all mysteries. Sorry, on these shelves it's really hard for me to like point things out, but I have The Violent Conspiracy, Night Film, Arsenic and Adobo, and Homicide and Hollow Hollow. I love Arsenic and Adobo. I also have Finley Donovan. These are in the wrong order, but I have Finley Donovan is Killing It and Finley Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead. I've only read Finley Donovan is Killing It, the first one, and I haven't heard great things about the rest of the series. I have A Killing in Costumes, The Thursday Murder Club, My Killer Vacation, which could be put in mystery or romance. Five Little Pigs by Agatha Christie, and then this for the most part is cozy mysteries. The bottom ones up until Brownies and Broomsticks is all by the same author. So Bree Baker, Julie Chase, and Julianne Lindsay are all the same author. So I have Apple Cider Slang by Julianne Lindsay, Cat Got Your Secrets by Julie Chase, and then I have the Seaside Cafe series by her. I have Live and Let Chide, No Good Tea Goes Unpunished, Tide and Punishment, A Call for Kelp, and Partners in Lime, all by Bree Baker. Then I have Brownies and Broomsticks by Bailey Cates, A Potion to Die For by Heather Blake, and A Brothel Betrayal. This next bookcase is all, for the most part, thrillers and horror as well. So up here is all my YA thrillers for the most part, except the ones that are Book of the Month copies. So I have Ace of Spades, The 10th Girl, Come Find Me, which is also by Megan Miranda, so you can see that I do split up authors sometimes. A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. This one is a pretty good, underrated one. Then I have None Shall Sleep, which I really, really love this cover. It was a little disappointing, but I enjoy it. We Were Liars. I have Not Even Bones, Truly Devious, Sadie, such a good one. One of Us is Lying by Karen M. Panic Menace, Neverworld Wake. The Mary Shelley Club is still one that I really need to get to. Then there is The Takedown, The Inheritance Games, and the Saturday Night Ghost Club. And then here is some, these are mostly ones where I own multiple from the author, not the whole thing though. I have Little Secrets, Dark Corners, and The Cheerleaders, all by Cara Thomas. I have This Is Not the Just Show and This Is Not the Real World. I have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead, which I still need to read that finale. But I love A Good Girl Guide to Murder. If you were here in 2020, that was like my brand book. Then I have The Silence of Six and Tiny Pretty Things, which are just two random ones. And The Lost by Natasha Preston is also kind of a random one. And then I have another candle called Goblin Grove by Flick the Wick, but it was an Owl Crate exclusive. So these are getting into horror now. So I have my ode to Tiffany D. Jackson. Tiffany writes in many different genres, mostly mystery, thriller, and horror. If you want to know more, I have a guide to her on my channel, but I kind of just put her here. And then I also have a little Silver Skull. So I have Allegedly, Let Me Hear Rhyme, Grown, White Smoke, The Weight of Blood, and Monday's Not Coming. If any of y'all have a hardcover copy of Monday's Not Coming, you can go ahead and send it my way, because the rest of them are hardcover and that one's not. The Weight of Blood is by far my favorite. I love it so much. It's really good. And that one is like her one real horror one. I mean, that and White Smoke, but nobody likes White Smoke. So yeah. And then I have All YA horror right here. So I have The Year of the Witching, a phenomenal one, highly recommend. I have The Merciless, which I haven't read yet, but I recently heard Aspen from Aspen's Archives talk about this, so I definitely want to pick it up. Then I have Saw Creole Girls, a pretty good one, Burn Our Bodies Down, and Wilder Girls by Rory Powers, both good ones. House of Hulls, one that I really love. Then I have Asylum, which I haven't heard anybody talk about. Horrid by Katrina Leno, one that I read and was pretty good. The Honey's another one I read that was pretty good. Anna Dressed in Blood, and then Clown in a Cornfield. And then this is getting into horror over here, like adult horror. So I have some of my book of the month ones. So I have Mexican Gothic, White Horse, and Lone Women. And then I have Slewfoot, which is so good. This is like one of my favorite books of the entire year so far. It is phenomenal. And then I have Unburied Carol by Josh Malerman, and this is, I actually think I own another Josh Malerman and they're separated. I definitely do down here, but it's okay. This is actually one that I got from Dollar Tree. Then I have Jacko by Aaron E. Adams, another good one. This is, I think, like a wax melt. Like you put the wax in the top and then you could put the candle like back here. There's an empty space, but I've never used it. I have The House on Needless Street and Sundial by Katrina Ward. I have Bunny by Mona Awad, and also The Return by Rachel Harrison. So this is a more horror, specifically paperback horror and short/extreme horror. This plant doesn't really fit here anymore because I added some more books, but it's coming to school with me anyways, so I'm just going to move it out the way. All of my fake plants that you've seen are from Target. So over here is actually one arc that I haven't read that's on my shelf. That's Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman, because I have Whisper Down the Lane. So since I have two books by that author, I just kept them together. I also have Where They Wait by Scott Carson, Episode 13 by Craig Deluby, which I did not like. Or I think it's overrated, but I love Stuff for the Children by this author and I need to get a physical copy. I have A God in the Shed, The Troop in the Deep by Nick Cutter, The Deep Can Literally Burn, I have Brother by Anya Alborn, and then I have Bedbugs, which is one that I recently thrifted and is actually getting republished this year under a different name. And then I have Cackle by Rachel Harrison. This is another one where I have the author split up. I need to reconfigure this because I have two of my authors split up. And then I have Woman Eating by Claire Coda, which is kind of like more of a literary fiction horror. I really like this one. The Count at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I have Fledgling and Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Bird Box by Josh Malerman. And then this is kind of the marked into more of like my short and extreme horror. I have these little boats. I have 3 of them. These ones were at the premiere when I went to see it, I think part 1, and I just kept those. The little movie theater people made those for us because I think it was like one of the first showings. So I have Kin by Keelan Patrick Burke. I have For the Sake of by Judith Sonnet, such a good extreme horror if you're looking for one. I have Sour Candy as well, that's a really good short one. Survivor by J.F. Gonzalez, a really good extreme horror as well. And next to that I have Them by McKay, which is another booktuber. Obviously y'all know McKay, and I put them right next to Survivor so they can, you know, go together. And then I have Reluctant Immortals by Gwendolyn Keist, The Ballad of Black Tom. This is another one where the authors are split up. Like, okay, I need to do a better job, y'all. And then I have Cirque Berserk. This is one of my favorite books of this year so far. I just read it in June. And then I have And Then I Woke Up. I also have Gone to See the Riverman, which is another one of my absolute faves. Flowers for the Sea, Follow Me to Ground is another fave of mine. I have The Wasp Factory, Exquisite Corpse, The Patient, a good short one, and then all the rest of these on the shelf. Let me move y'all just a tad. These ones are all Eric LaRocca. I have We Can Never Leave This Place, 2 copies of Everything the Darkness Eats. I have an ARC and then a full copy. The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, and Other Misfortunes, an ARC copy. Then The Normal, Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, which is no longer in print. You've Lost a Lot of Blood, and then They Were Here Before Us. And now this is the last actual shelf on this bookcase. The last shelf is blank because I want to leave room, because thriller and horror are the 2 genres that are growing the most in my collection. So I kind of wanted to leave room for those sections to grow. So over here I have Stephen King. I have It, which I have read actually. I have Lisey's Story, Gerald's Game, Pet Sematary, and Carrie. Carrie's another one that I've read that I really liked. And then I have some more of his at the top, but in between is some books by Joe Hill. Joe Hill's actually his son. So I have Nosferatu and Heart-Shaped Box. And then I have Salem's Lot, another copy of Pet Sematary that I thrifted because it is just absolutely so kitschy and just stunning. I didn't even like Pet Sematary that much. I think it's overrated, but I just had to have it. And then I have The Shining here on top. But I have the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, My Best Friend's Exorcism, and The Final Girl Support Group, and also Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. So my little Grady Hendrix collection. And then my little pop figures. So I have 3 from Stranger Things and 2 from Game of Thrones. And then I have just some random hardcover horror. I have Leech. I have The Bone Orchard, We Spread by Ian Reid, a really good one. The Only Good Indians, and then The Hollow Kind as well. Now we're moving on to the top of the last bookcase. This one is all romance, contemporary romance, and historical fiction. So starting up here for the most part are all like rom-com type books. I have my book of the month ones here. I have The Love Hypothesis, When to Watch, Bringing Down the Duke, Well Met, The Dating Plan, Honey Girl, and then Beach Read. And I also have Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and Take a Hint, Dani Brown, which is not book of the month, but I just put her up there to go with her sister. And then I also have In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. And then the whole rest of the shelf is all books where I own multiple from the author. So I have The Deal and the Chase by Elle Kennedy. These are the first books in both of her series. I love The Chase so much. And then I have some of the Bromance book club books. So I have the Bromance Book Club, Crazy Stupid Romance, Isn't It Romantic, and A Very Merry Bromance. I think I'm missing number 4. I'm missing 1 in the middle. And then these are all by Lisa K. Adams. I have The Unhoneymooners and My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. I have Intercepted, Fumbled, and Blitzed, all by Alexa Martin. That is a football romance series. And then I have The Simple Wild and Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. The Simple Wild was on my favorites of last year. It made me absolutely sob, y'all. It made me sob so hard. And then I have 99% Mine and The Hating Game, both by Sally Thorne. And then I also have The Stopover and The Takeover by T.L. Swan. I've read The Takeover, not The Stopover. Well, I don't remember. I've read the second one, not the first one. And I really, really, really like that one. Moving on to the next shelf, these are some more rom-com-y romances on this side and then more emotional ones on this side. So obviously I have my Kennedy Ryan section. I have Before I Let Go, Real, The Grip Trilogy, Bind Up, Long Shot, Block Shot, and Hook Shot. These are the original covers. I would pull them out because they're absolutely stunning. But I can't. These are actually getting republished, so you can't get these covers anymore, which is why I bought them when I did. And then I have my Colleen Hoover section. I know we don't like her, but Slam This Girl and Hopeless I thrifted years ago before we knew Colleen Hoover was problematic. And then I read It Ends With Us. That's the only one that I've read from this section. I've read Verity, but obviously that's in a different section. And I also have Layla, which I haven't read, but that's on the next shelf. And then I have All Your Perfects, which is the only one that I really do have an interest in reading. So I probably need to unhaul these, but All Your Perfects is the only one I really have an interest in reading because I heard it has infertility rep. And then I have You've Made a Fool of Death Your Beauty, which I haven't read yet, but one that I have read that's a little jammed in there. Oh god, y'all, y'all. It's crazy, but 7 Days in June. Highly recommend. You do not need to read her in June because she's not super summery, but she's so, so good. I also got By the Book, which is a recent one that I have. Behind the Bars by Brittany C. Cherry. Love in the Wild I have as well. And After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Then these are just kind of like a random assortment. So I have Ice Planet Barbarians, which I know is like sci-fi, but it's the only one that I have. Then I have The Vincent Boys, The X-Talk, Easy by Tamara Weber. Shipped by Angie Hockman, also lackluster. Before I Met You, Accidentally Engaged is a really good underrated one. Royally Screwed is one that I also really love. You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria. I haven't read that one yet. Then I have Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. And then I've Had to Catch a Queen by Alyssa Cole. I have Vanessa Jerry's Got a Man, which is another really good underrated one. I also enjoyed Ties That Tether and Float Plan. Those two are both a little bit more emotional, leaning slightly literary fiction. I have Red, White, and Royal Blue right here as well. And then I have One Day in December and also The Matzo Ball, which are both like holiday romances. And there is another candle from Page Turning Co. that is Strawberry Lollipop. Now this is my dark romance shelf. So I have Drag Me Up by Armed Virtues. I have There Are No Saints and There Is No Devil by Sophie Lark. I also have another copy of There's No Devil back there. The alternate covers, but I love these covers. You can see this is one of the only ones on display. Then I have the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey, Hooked by Emily McIntyre, Haunting Adeline, Welcome to the Dark Side, which is overrated, I'm sorry. And then I have The Doctor by Nikki Sloan, which is not dark, but it's just really, really smutty. Promises and Pomegranates, Punk 57, I love Punk 57. Credence, and also Misconduct, all by Penelope Douglas. I have Magnolia Parks, which again is not super dark, but it just kind of fits in this category. I have Desperate Measures by Katie Roberts, Priest and Midnight Mass by Sarah Simone, Praise by Sarah Kate, and Layla by Colleen Hoover. And at the end, all the way over there, is my Aunt Deja mug that my sister gave to me when she was telling us that she was pregnant. Moving on to some historical fiction, I have all my Book of the Month ones on this side. I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Babel, Liberty, The Lost Apothecary, and The London Sand Society, both by Sarah Penner. I have Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six, and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is not a Book of the Month copy, but I just put it there to go with its sisters. Then down here I have Hunting Prince Dracula, Escaping from Houdini, and Capturing the Devil, all by Karen Maniscalco. I'm missing the first book, Stalking Jack the Ripper, which I love because I lent it to my aunt years ago, and she never gave it back. If you're watching this, I still remember. And then I have Leviathan and Goliath by Scott Westerfield, The Diviners by Lua Bray, and My Lady Jane and My Plain Jane by that 3-author trio. And then I have Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, Enchanty, The Dark Days Club, The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, Gunslinger Girl, and The Garden of Spite, which is more like horror historical fiction. And then here is the last shelf. It's more historical fiction. Obviously I can't point to that much because I'm holding the camera, but I have 11/22/63 by Stephen King. So you know, again, splitting up some authors, but he's pretty close to himself, so it's okay. I have Rebel Angels, A Great and Terrible Beauty, and The Sweet Far Thing, all by Libba Bray. I have Ivory and Bone, The Madman's Daughter, A Study in Charlotte, Vengeance Road, The Name of the Wind, Salt to the Sea, Spectacle, The Dream Daughter, which I believe is more like time travel. I have Jacoby, Etiquette, and Espionage, The Nightingale, Girl in the Blue Coat, A Curious Beginning, which can also go in mystery, Dune, The Book Thief, Between Shades of Grey, and Soulless. So those are all the books. So those are all my books. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It took a lot of time and effort, so I really do hope that you guys enjoy. As I said, I have around 1,000 books, and this definitely helped me realize some places where some authors are split up that shouldn't be split up, but for the most part you get the general gist of how my shelves are organized. So if you made it to the end, leave a little candle emoji down below, and I will see you on my next one. Bye everybody. I'm writing rhymes in the kitchen, soaking in moments we live in. Yeah, you got the nerve to be on me, faking a life for the hot. If you got my number, don't add me, cause baby I'm on